Hello, my name is Chad Wright. I'm an Elms College Social Work Program internship student at Cathedral in the Light. I've been there for the past several months. Recently I've been introduced to Rick. Rick is a participant that's been showing up at our weekly Sunday church service and meal that we have. Rick is a 55-year-old white male. Rick recently moved to the area from Illinois. Rick was in the military when he was younger. And after the military, Rick went to work for a very large road pavement construction firm. After 30 years, Rick retired from the paving company. He has a great pension and he's very financially stable. Rick owns his own home in South Deerfield. Rick has been coming to the Cathedral in the Light now for the past several weeks. And just last week he reached out to me, and I'm the on-site social worker intern. Rick has mentioned traumatic events in his life that have happened when he was in the military. He thinks that these traumatic events have led him to a lifetime of binge drinking. He had hoped that his retirement and a move to a new area would take his mind off the events that happened earlier on in his life and maybe help curtail his drinking. He has also mentioned that a lack of focus and purpose in life since retiring. And he's always felt a desire to obtain a degree in higher education. Rick's current issues that he has are coming to grips with the possibility that he might be an alcoholic. Rick also has a lack of focus, which is common for people that have an addiction. Rick would like to find purpose and meaning for the next stage of his life. So now we're going to have our meeting with Rick. Hi, Rick. What brings you in today?
I feel lost. I'm kind of new to the area, and I just have, since I moved out here, I really haven't, just kind of by myself and everything.
It can be very difficult moving to a new area, transitioning and trying to meet new friends and pick right back up where you left off.
Right.
I remember from our conversation before, you said you were in the military?
Yes, I was.
So what was that experience like for you?
I mean, overall, it was, I think it was a great experience. It, kind of made me man up. It just, overall, it was great. Made some good friends, which I'm still in contact with a few of them. One from Pennsylvania, one from Ohio, and it's like,
Did something happen in the military that you were saying that was pretty life-changing, or?
Yeah. There was one day we had been out in the field on maneuvers, and we had come back in, and we were supposed to get all our equipment clean and everything, and stand inspection. And anyway, one of the guys, he went and got his weapon out of the armory, and he came up to my room to get my cleaning kit, and as he was in there, the weapon went off. And at first I just thought it was a blank round, and then I heard my roommate say he was hit, and I heard the other guy, my friend, say he was hit too. And it was, it just didn't even seem real. And next thing, I don't even know where my roommate went. He was gone. And I looked over, and Lucas kind of walked over to my bed, and he fell to his knees and was leaning on the bed. And then he got up and he walked over to the doorway where he fell down, and immediately ran over to him, and we ripped his shirt open, and we could see a bullet hole right here. And there was no blood, and it was like, I don't know, maybe a minute later, all the medics showed up, and there was nothing they could do. He was gone. And
It's a difficult situation for anybody, especially a young man. You know, you're in the military when you're a young age, and you know that can weigh heavy on anybody. So after you left the military, you started working for a paving company for a number of years, I see.
yes, I did. Yeah, I did that. I really liked it. It was good work. I started out at the bottom, and then by the time I finished there, I ended up running the paver. So that was good because I didn't really have to do a lot of shoveling or any of the physical work. So that was pretty sweet. But there was a lot of responsibility, and you know, I was in charge of, I don't know, up to 10 guys at a time, and just making sure everything got done the way it was supposed to. So yeah, it was pretty rewarding.
That's nice. From what I'm hearing you say, you started from the bottom and you worked your way up through the ranks, and
Yeah.
you feel a sense of pride or accomplishment for that. It's great, you know, putting in 30 years with one company. Not a lot of people do that nowadays.
Yeah.
So you had mentioned earlier about you tend to drink heavy sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, I pretty much drink every day, but there's days where I don't even know what's going on. I mean, I play these little games with myself, and you know, like I'll only drink X amount, and then next thing I know, I'm waking up passed out somewhere in the house, and I have no clue what I did before that or anything.
You know, addiction is very difficult for many people, you know, across the nation, and you know, that's one of the things about alcoholism, is that the inability to cut down or to stop or to know when to say when, and it happens with a lot of people, and it could be physiological. You know, there's a lot of different areas that we could approach or tackle that. You said that you've moved to the area to try and maybe cut down on the drinking, and since you've moved to the new area, has that subsided at all?
No, not at all. No. And I think probably because I'm pretty isolated, I don't think that helps.
You live in South Deerfield,
Right.
And so, you know, Greenfield is just a short drive. You come in every Sunday for the church service, the meal. It's nice to see you there. You know, participating in socializing, meet new people. That's one of my favorite parts about
Yeah.
Cathedral in the Light, is that I get to meet all different people from all walks of lives, and then you know, if I'm fortunate enough, I can, you know, do a little good and help some people out. You mentioned that you wanted to have like a little bit more purpose or meaning in life, like you feel there's more that you still could be doing. And you mentioned one avenue might be education, you were saying?
Yeah, I've thought about it. I mean, I don't really know. I don't know what I really would like to do. And I mean, I was pretty good. I was pretty good in school up until I started drinking and using drugs, and then it was like back in the 70s. Though, I mean, it seemed like everybody was doing it back then, but I mean,
there's lots of statistics and data on returning students and people that have just graduated high school and then taken a long break and then gone to college. for the first time. They're called non-traditional students, and that's the path that I took. I worked in a restaurant for 20-something years, and then one day I just decided that I'm going to give school a shot. And you know, it might have seemed daunting at first, but once I got in there the first day, you know, I realized that I could do this. There's a local community college right here in Greenfield, Greenfield Community College, and they have pretty good programs, associate degree programs, and they're geared towards you know, single parents, non-traditional older students, and you know, people that maybe just got out of high school and they don't know what they want to do yet with their lives. So everybody, it seems like everybody that's going to GCC is looking for a purpose, and when you go there, they tend to point you in the right direction. I also want to note, I do know that on the campus there at Greenfield Community College, they do have a veterans club. So they have a lot of they have a high number of veteran students, and then they have some camaraderie there, getting together and you know, having study groups and discussing the struggles, the challenges, but also the rewards and accomplishments together. You know, it's kind of like a support group. It's really nice there. And then maybe you said you felt like a sense of belonging and accomplishment when you were in the Army.
Right.
And you said you still connect and still communicate with the members of your unit from 30, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
And so I know that right here in Greenfield on Main Street, there's the VSO. It's a veteran service organization, and they help veterans find resources, whatever aspects in their lives that they're looking for. There's also a new organization that I don't know much about in town. It's the Veterans Network organization, and yeah, they're new in town, but you can look them up. They're always looking for volunteers.
Oh, yeah.
And I find that even with the hustles and bustles of my life, if I can volunteer, you know, an hour or two every once in a while, you know, it kind of recharges my batteries. You know, that the feeling of doing, you know, good, you know, for the society in general, the public.
Sure.
Yeah, so it seems like you've lived like a really interesting, deep life. That you know, they say that people, everybody's journey through life is different, and you know, they could not be more true about that statement. But so, you know, I think that you're right there. I mean, if we could maybe think about ways that we could help you ease that burden from the traumas that you've received when you were in the military, those events, and those weighing on you for over 30-something years. You know, that's something that with, you know, maybe talking to a couple of peers, or maybe even getting into some therapy could help. And you know, if those feelings are what's, you know, causing you was the first step towards, you know, alcoholism, you know, we can alleviate some of that pain for you with some therapy. And then, does that sound like something that might be able to help? There's been a lot of research, and people have had a lot of success. And generally, they tend to feel, you know, a lot better about themselves. You know, to not carry that extra weight, that emotional baggage that can weigh down on somebody. You know, I know that in the military they have a term, high speed, low drag, and sometimes those emotional things can add to that drag and cut down on your speed.
Right.
So maybe we could set you up. How often do you think? You said you're retired and you're looking for, you know, to fill up some time. So
Right.
maybe you can look into the college, just get a feeler for what they have for programs. You might find something that you never thought about doing.
That's true.
You know, you could become a counselor yourself, or you know, if you like art, music, there's all types of things. So that way you could you know, kind of find a hobby, something that, you know, gives you enjoyment. And so I think that would be great. If you said that, you know, maybe meeting up with local veterans and rebuilding those bonds, and then you might be able to help some of them as well. You can do some volunteering. and I have numbers of those organizations. And then maybe, like you said, if you're drinking every day, and then you're drinking to where you pass out or you black out, that's it's a problem that's medically that can be very dangerous for a person to do that. And so, we want to make sure that we can definitely vigorously look into that, because everybody's worth it. You're worth it. And all is not lost. If you use, that motivation that you've had all through life with your great military career and your career with the paving industry, I'm sure that you could tackle this next chapter of your life no problem. So do you think you'd be able to commit to maybe we could research together therapists in town? So maybe if you and I were to meet once a week for an hour or so, and then we could go through the next steps. We could research the college a little bit. We can get in touch with some of the veterans organizations in town. And then maybe, we could go through a list of therapists. Maybe there's some former veterans, and therapists nowadays. You can find somebody that you're more comfortable talking with.
Yeah.
And like I said, people tend to find a lot of relief. And tends to it makes their quality of life, a lot better.
Yeah, I've tried therapy before and all that, but I just don't feel like they just don't get me.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess maybe if I could find one that I felt comfortable with, it probably would really help. So
But
it's something I'd be open to.
I think another avenue of approach that we could look at would be AA. I know right here in Greenfield, on Chapman Street, they have the Grapevine, and they have a meeting every day at 7 and a meeting every day at noon, and then they usually have an evening meeting also. And I'm pretty sure there's meetings every day in Greenfield. And so that's, Alcoholics Anonymous is a 12-step program. And you can get sponsors, people that have been where you're at right now with either alcohol or other addictions. And then, they've lived it one day at a time. And then after a number of years, they're confident in their ability to, resist alcohol and going back to that old habit. And then, so you could find somebody that, recovered alcoholic who's a veteran. And then I feel that maybe you speaking, at the AA meeting among peers, it becomes a little bit easier. And then once you're speaking with people at AA, then once you start going to therapy, it becomes a little bit easier because you've seen all these people that are strangers in AA, and they talk about their life stories and what's brought them there to get themselves sober and in recovery. Sometimes it's really inspirational for other people to see that other people can do it, and then plus being able to talk openly about yourself in an honest manner kind of opens the floodgates, if you will, when you find the right therapist and you can connect with them. So yeah, if you'd like, we can meet up next week and we can come up with a list of AA programs in the area. I could start generating a list, of local therapists in town, and then I can get you some literature and information about the veterans organizations in town, and also Greenfield Community College.
Okay.
So you want to meet next week the same time?
That sounds great.
Okay. I hope everything goes well. I look forward to seeing you next week.
All right.
Thanks
Thank
a lot,
you very
Rich.
much, Ed.